midshipman in that one. And then the next one, we got promoted to captain. And Nancy Tejan, those of you who remember her, obviously said something very funny when we were a lot younger. And then the last one is absolutely my favorite. So that's Richard. And it's right when he came back briefly about 18 years ago when we were in my office and it was a stage shoot. And I know you remember this because they said, well, grab some papers off your desk and put it on the table and act like y'all are working on something. So somebody just grabbed the papers and put it in front of Richard. Well, they happened to be stuff that I hadn't seen yet, and he starts asking me all these questions about this stuff, and I'm like, I have no idea what they're talking about. So I will always remember that photo shoot. So anyway, well, one of the favorite things that Tom Wiley ever said to me was about Ryan Rogers, and it was early on. And he would call Ryan his favorite DNA prop, the Mary Kay DNA prop, which is a little condescending back then, but we had to break him in the right way. He's clearly earned his way. I haven't called him or talked to him about that in probably 10 to 15 years. But having said that, you are the one that knows Mary Kay the best, and I would love to know what the best piece of advice she ever gave you.
It's actually a funny story. You know, when I was 6 years old in 1983, so you can all do the math now and figure out how old I am. Old. Mary Kay's book, Mary Kay on People Management, came out in paperback. And it's one of my prized possessions. She wrote inside the cover of the book, Dear Ryan, learn all, and she underlined all, learn all of this for one day when you're president of Mary Kay Cosmetics, which was my dad's title at the time. And I remember when I went off to college, I had a bunch of AP credit, advanced placement credit, and I had this kind of goal in the back of my head to graduate in 3 years. And Mary Kay would call me every Friday my freshman year of college. Always fun. She would say, hurry up and graduate from school so you can come work for me. And so that was good advice, and I ended up graduating in 3 years. And
wow.
I remember Mary Kay was, thank you.
But
Mary Kay was too weak to attend my graduation, so my dad and I went over to her house after graduation. I told her, Mary Kay, I graduated from school, and I graduated in 3 years, and I got my first job, and she was squeezing my hand, and I said, I'm going to work for PricewaterhouseCoopers. And she let go of my hand and rolled over in her bed. But I remember that great advice from my grandmother. What about you? What's the best piece of advice you've received from Mary Kay Ash?
yeah, I only overlapped with her a few years, and I wasn't as high up, so I wasn't in her presence a lot. But the times that I were, she always, you know, she was nice, but she wasn't as nice as everybody thinks she was. She was a taskmaster, and you know, one of the things that she said to me and another person was, "It's not about you, it's about the company." And I was like, I didn't think it was. I was pretending that it was about me, and I really wasn't. But it was just, it always stuck with me that if you do the thing that's right for the company, then David Holl, you are going to be okay. So that's something that's always stuck with me for sure. So Ryan and I have worked together for 20 years. He actually celebrated his 20th anniversary January 1st with the company. That's a big although I think he was working from day one, the second he was born, so maybe 40-something years that he's been in the company. But so in that 20 years, I wonder if you can remember, what was your first impression of moi?
Well, I do remember the first time David and I interacted, and I was taken aback by just how solid and dependable and trustworthy that David seemed. And in the early 2000s, believe it or not, we needed that. And so I was really impressed with how dependable Mr. David Holl is.
This is going better than I thought.
What about me? What was your first impression of me?
Lucky?
Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
and obviously smart. I can't tell you how blessed the company is, but me in particular, to have someone like Ryan, family member, board member along with me and his dad, and knowing when he's working for me, and then most of the time knowing when he's a board member and needs to keep me and others in check. I will tell you how smart he is. One of the first times after I got this job, I went to Ryan and I said, Ryan, your age, my age, in about 10, 12 years, you're going to be at a time where you need to take my job, and I won't have any problem with it. And we need to start putting you on the track and managing people and doing all these things that you need to do to get experience. And he's like, okay. And about 3 days later, he came back. By then, his dad had kind of morphed into, executive chairman means you don't come in every day. He really just talks to me every now and then. He goes, I think I want to morph into my dad's job. Your job has way too many headaches. so anyway, he's a smart man.
Well, speaking of headaches, no, seriously, David spends probably more time than anyone in the Mary Kay building interacting with other CEOs and other executives from companies in our industry, not just in the direct selling industry, but the beauty industry. So I want to ask you, David, what do you think about the environment that we're in right now?
It's a tricky one. The regulatory environment has gotten a lot more difficult. Those of you that follow some of the competition, you've seen that with some of the competitors like an Advocare or Nerium, or whatever it's called now, with the FTC. And it is disturbing, but at the same time, it kind of falls in line with some of the things that we've been teaching and coaching people from stage of get ahead of that regulatory environment in terms of what you can say, can't say, claims, and other things. So we're ahead of it, but that doesn't mean that we can't relax, because it is going to be a difficult environment. But everything that we see, we know we do the right things. We're not perfect, but we try to do the right thing, and that has helped us a lot. And we don't have any of those issues, and we're glad for it.
I think we're pretty close to perfect.
And it is also interesting, though, in the environment that there's some big companies like Avon, which I know, was a public company and now it's private, but you follow them more than I do because they're public.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things I remember my dad saying every time a competitor was the new kind of hot thing out there, he's just always said to me, I've seen it 1,000 times. I've seen companies come and go. And in our 56 years plus, we've seen a lot of those competition come and go, but Avon's the one that just stands out to me. I mean, even as a college student, I looked at Avon as, our #1 competition. They had a huge sales force. They've been in business since the 1860s.
Wow.
And to think that today, I mean, just on January 6th, because I follow their stock, I've always followed their stock,
AVP?
their stock does not trade anymore.
Yeah.
They've been acquired by a Korean cosmetics company, and nobody knows what their future is here in the United States. And
wow.
kind of glad.
For the company, not the people, not the people.
Well, you know that we have the most dynamic and powerful sales force in the world.